Welcome back to New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld, and I'm very excited about today's guest. If you've been watching my program, you know that I've had this guest on before, and this is Anjali. And the last time we saw each other was at your press conference in Washington at the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, where and the reason we're doing the show is to update people what happened to Anjali. You gave the press conference, you were going to go into a tunnel, you're going to meet these beings, you're going to introduce these beings to the world, and it didn't happen. And will you tell us, everyone was waiting for that. You were the it girl of ufology disclosure for a moment, and no, it's okay, but are you okay talking about this?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It's really hitting me what you're saying. So
No, I understand, but people were looking at you, okay, this woman's gonna lead the way, and you were gonna take a team.
That's right.
And what happened?
Well,
and I want to say you look so much better. You were so frail and fragile at that press conference when I ran into you yesterday. I did not recognize you.
I know.
Is this the same woman who could hardly stand up and speak in the blazing sun? So yeah, I know it's a lot of pressure. But
okay.
I think it's important because I think your intentions were good, and I think you and Whitley Strieber says, don't trust the phenomena. They will tell you things and make up stories. So I don't know what happened. So yeah,
I mean, I can tell you what I think happened.
Yeah.
I can't tell you for sure. I only know
you only know
one
your
side.
little part.
That's right. That's right.
And do you want to mention the name? Like there was this, do you want to talk? Well, there was a guy, Wayne, who said led you into the cave. If you haven't seen this program before, or Anjali, you met him in a coffee shop in somewhere in the Southwest, and he says, and you mentioned ETs, and you had visions of ETs. He said, I think he said he had an ET.
He had several experiences, and he explained them to me. And now it doesn't seem that he remembers that he explained those experiences.
He doesn't remember them.
It doesn't seem to, because every time, when nothing was, they were just kind of blank faced. And, when I go back and I watch that, our meeting and everything, I see the confusion and the absolute not remembering. They're telling me they don't remember even telling me that there were ETs at their home.
But he meets you at the restaurant. He says, come with me to this cave.
Absolutely.
And he's the one who dug this tunnel into the mountain. You go with him.
That's right.
To the cave.
Yes.
You follow.
I was in a tunnel that had been dug
by the guy.
Yes. And by someone. Someone had dug this tunnel, and he had said to me that he had dug the tunnel.
Okay, so you go into the tunnel.
That's right.
And you go, I think you said a quarter mile in or something.
Oh, I don't really know. I mean, we walked for several minutes after having gone up and down some gravelly areas, and someplace I had never been before. I had never seen the property before that time, so I'm not sure exactly where all we walked on the property, but I do just know that it was very difficult for me. It felt like it had been a long time.
And you weren't that well.
I wasn't well. I was still, it was one of my periods, because I'll have a couple of weeks, and I don't know if that's what's happening right now, if I'm just having a really great couple of weeks.
Well, maybe you're making a recovery.
Oh gosh, we can hope. But
you go into the tunnel.
That's right.
And you go, I don't know, a couple of 100 yards or whatever it was. I don't know, half a mile, quarter mile. And there's these beings there.
Yeah, we turned around. I mean, he took me in because he told me that he had found the base.
Right.
That they had told him to dig, or that he felt really compelled to dig, and that he had dug until he found it. And did I want to go see it? So we walk in, we're blah, blah, blah. We're inside the base. We turn the
Right.
corner, or we're in the tunnel. We turn the corner, and there's the base of beings, and it's like it's a smoothless transition from an absolutely 100% normal tunnel. If anybody's ever been inside of a tunnel
in
that's
a
been
rock
dug
through rocks.
through rocks,
Yeah.
you know, there was nothing strange going on. There were no weird woo-wooies. Nothing was moving odd. Nothing was out of the ordinary, except for every once in a while, I was starting to hear them contacting me, or not hear,
ETs.
but like they would send me their faces,
Mhm,
and then that face would come with a
mhm.
with a
Right.
a download of information, or like they'd say like, hi, hello.
And you had ET, just to kind of fill people, and you had ET experiences before this. You were
Yes.
in a hospital. I think you may have had a near-death experience or something. Maybe it wasn't that, but you were very ill, and that's when the beings first started to come to you. And then you were feeling a little better. You met this guy, Wayne, in this coffee shop, and you happened to talk about ETs. He said, come with me. And so you go into the tunnel.
That's right.
And you're walking however far, a couple of minutes, and then what happens?
So when we turn and we see them, there is a small gray being that the more that I look back on it, I believe that he may have been what ufology has taught me is a droid. Okay.
Yeah, the ones with the pointy chin, some people say.
He was more pointy, and he was smaller.
That's what some people.
And he was small. He was about 4 foot tall. And there were 3 tall whites that were standing there. There were 2 men. There was a man, a woman, and a man behind
A
him.
human man,
No, these were tall whites.
Tall white. Oh, they were male. You could
Male.
identify the male and
Oh,
female
they
in a
look
tall one.
just like a human.
Oh,
They look like humans. They're tall, they're thin, they're kind of, but broader shouldered, not like a small itty bitty frame, but you know, a nice frame for their height.
right.
But they're slender, very, very light skinned, light colored hair. And the males had haircuts.
But they're not, are they solid beings? Are they?
They looked completely solid to me. Although I will say that when I stepped into the base, from the tunnel into the base, things felt a little different for me when I stepped inside the base.
When you say it was a base, so it was no longer a rock face.
That's right.
It was what?
Absolutely not. I don't know, because I did not touch it, but it was a solid, like, maybe it
looked like a ship.
It's fabricated. I mean, it was like, it looked like, honestly, the inside, it looked kind of like a very sterile kind of area,
like translucent plastic sort of thing.
Well, no, it wasn't translucent at all. I mean, it was solid. Everything was solid. It's just that it was very smooth, and it was metallic, but very smooth again, like I'm saying. And there was no art or any embellishments.
Right. It was just
like you know how we as humans, we're always we embellish, and we like to put our little touch on everything.
I know that's my apartment's full of that, but yes,
it is. You have a very cute, adorable partner. But there was nothing like that.
So it's like very sterile. Okay,
that's right.
So you walk into this environment.
There's not dust around from walking through a cave. There's not dirt. There wasn't even dirt on the floor.
The floor was like what?
It was like the same thing that
the walls
everything was the same.
So you walk in from the
and rock, I'm walking on
and
my
you meet these beings, and
yes.
You said they do what?
Well, they wanted me. The small gray one said that I was going to go with them
telepathically.
Yes, they're not saying anything,
right?
And I just want to go back to telepathic, because the beings, they have explained that it isn't telepathy because it's their consciousness speaking to our consciousness. There's no trick. There's no power move that they're trying to make. It's a simple, they're trying to communicate directly to us, like you and I are talking to each other, except it's more full. It's less emotional.
Their thought form reality.
Their thought form reality is
is much
full. It's
full
full. It's
of
like
more
you get
because-
everything.
Because I'm just giving you words now, but they give
They give you everything.
That's
And it's
interesting.
and it's calm. It's like you can come with the emotion behind it, but it's not going to make you like if they send like you're making me afraid, they're not, I'm not going to feel afraid.
Right.
I just understand that and they haven't said that to me.
No,
Okay,
no,
that
no.
was just an
no,
example.
I know. So you're there, you meet
Yeah.
these beings, and
Right.
then
And then, okay, so they wanted me to go with them and
go with them deeper into the
yes,
base.
and Brian was still standing right outside of it.
But it was,
And he said, he spoke to them through conscious communication. He said that he wasn't going to leave me there, that he didn't
said
want,
that to you.
He
Yeah.
said that to them, to the droid.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I'm not going to leave her. And so so they told him that he could stay and the others had
Because you had a whole party of
to go.
people.
Yeah,
Yes.
there were 3 other people with us. And so they went, they left and he waited there and I followed them deeper into the base.
Okay.
And I followed beside, the gray one and the whites, the tall whites. They never attempted to address me. They looked at me, but they were extremely aloof.
Mhm.
They weren't, they were all business.
They were, what
It was just
their
like
business
all
though?
business. I have no idea.
Wow.
They felt like security because of the way they were dressed and just the way they act. And I've
Mm.
been around a lot of security in my life
Right.
with the kind of work that I've done. It felt reminiscent of someone who was working security detail.
Wow.
And that doesn't mean that they were, but that's
No,
how it,
that's how it
that's the
felt.
feeling they gave. Like, I'm not here to socialize with you.
And did you have
You
any
know?
fear going into there? Or were you
None
just-
at all.
Not at all. So
No.
you go in
No.
and you then, just to recap until we get to the Lincoln Memorial, we're getting there. But okay, so you go in.
Yeah.
And what happens once you're deeper inside?
They take me down a hall, a door opens and there is a lavender being that's standing on the other side of
Lavender,
it.
like the color of your,
Very much like this.
oh, well, that's perfect. Yeah.
And they were standing on, inside the room
Mhm.
and they went like this. They went like
Mm.
and looked at me for the first time.
Were they
and I was
tall?
just
Was
like,
that
yeah.
one?
And I'm just like, and I step in and I realize that it's the being that I've been communicating with
Mm.
that
Who-
was
who
in
you-
my room
You saw him at the hospital.
that I saw in my room as well, that I saw at my house
Oh.
several times.
And there's pretty solid beings.
This was it. I got to tell you, I did not touch this being.
Mhm.
Okay. But I have the sense of solidity.
Okay. Okay. So this looks you over and you get a telepathic from this
They're
being?
talking to me the entire time. They want me to lay on this table.
Mhm.
Okay. There's all sorts of beings that are in this room.
There's lots of beings.
Yes. Like, and I can't remember anymore, but I get the sense that I wasn't the only other person that might have been taken
Only other
into that
human.
room. Mhm.
There were other humans.
I think so.
Okay.
But
But you didn't see, but you got the sense. So you
I have this vague, faint recollection, but I can't quite hold on to
So
it.
there's all these different types of ET beings, like
That's-
the bar
Well,
scene
something.
at
Yeah, that's right.
Star Wars, I guess.
Yeah,
it is.
except they're all, I get the sense that they're either there to help or to watch.
Okay.
Like this is important in some way. And I'm not saying I'm important, but
No,
what they're
but
doing
whatever
is
they're,
important.
yeah, right.
And there were these windows that were up there, on this like really high ceiling, and they were curving out. Or curving around the room,
Mm.
and they were darkened windows. And I remember thinking to myself, as I'm like walking into that room and I'm looking around, I'm trying to keep my head on straight, right?
Right, it's a
And
little weird, yeah.
All of it was weird. And I'm trying to keep my head on straight. And I'm thinking to myself, as I look around the room, I'm seeing I'm the only human there.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, well, with all of these non-human entities that are here, who's hiding behind the glass?
Mm,
Who
mm.
would need to hide? Hello,
Was
look at all of this. And I thought the only people that would hide are humans.
Oh, you think so?
Yes, humans who are like working with them.
But
That's what I think. I honestly think that there were humans behind that glass.
were you still in the cave type area, or did maybe you got suddenly
Oh,
put
I have
on a
no
ship or
idea.
something, and it could have been outer space or something?
I can't say
Okay,
that. All I
okay.
can say is that I stepped from the cave,
Mhm.
from the tunnel.
Mhm.
1 second I'm in dirt and I stop. And the next second when he says, "Oh, hi, we've been waiting for you talking to me," I was like, I knew it. And I just stepped forward and I stepped right into the base, and it was all different
And are you feeling consciously shifted too?
when I stepped into the base.
Like, because
Absolutely.
that is one of the signs that, it's like there's a distortion of the conscious
Yep.
field. And so then what? You lay down on the
I
table.
laid down on the table and they removed my consciousness from my body. It was like floating up. There was like a mist of like a white, like if light could, if water, excuse me, if mist could be light, it was like a misty light.
So you're
And
no
it's just,
longer,
I'm laying under it.
your
But I'm
awareness
over my
was
body.
above your
I'm
consciousness,
above my body.
and you see your body on the table.
No, but I don't see it, but I'm aware that my
sense.
body is
And
below
you
me.
are floating.
I'm above my body,
Okay.
yes, but I'm still beneath the same white light. Everything, I'm like out of my body, but I'm here.
Okay.
Okay.
I get it.
Yeah, I'm
and-
not like up here around the room
Right,
watching.
right.
I'm here.
And what is happening? Okay, what is happening with your body then?
They're talking to each other about my body. One person's saying things like, "We didn't know that she was going to be so sick." Almost like, not like they made me sick, but maybe they were responsible for choosing a vessel.
Or maybe they're there to help you, and to make you
There was
better. I don't
something
know.
there. There was this sense of almost like a responsibility. I can't explain
Maybe they
it.
did make you sick, actually. I'm not saying that they did, but
I'm not saying they made me sick, but like maybe they were responsible for choosing the vessel. And I was put in a vessel that turns out to be sick.
Or maybe there was
I don't
some
know.
previous interaction, because there are cases where there have been interactions where people have been healed, but also
Yeah.
people have not been healed. They've gotten worse. So
Yes.
anyway,
Yes.
but
Yes.
are they
Okay.
helping your body get better? What's then happening?
Well, so they were like doing some kind of diagnostics or something strange, because they started telling one of them, the same ones that were over here saying we didn't know that she would be sick. One of them says there's something that's wrong with her root chakra. I'm not kidding you. They said my root chakra.
The alien said root chakra.
Well, I don't know that they are aliens, but they definitely said root chakra. I'm gonna go with beings. They don't like aliens. They say it's like a slur. Like,
do they care really? I mean, how else are they? But maybe you're saying maybe they're not off-planet beings.
The reason that they would care is that when you think of an alien, it comes with a preconception that includes a lot of Hollywood and fear and a lot of imaginary things. And what they want is for us to approach them where they are and as they are, rather than labeling them with something that has already, not only in our society, dealing with, possible other entities, but also dealing with other humans that we don't want around.
But the other thing you said,
that's my guess,
in a previous interview, is they are not another species, they're another race. Do you remember saying that?
Oh,
that's really important.
Yes, they say that.
They say what?
They say that that we're all the same race, that they are the same race as we are, that we're not a different species. They are not a different species from us. We're the same species, different races. That's it.
Who's saying that? All the different
beings.
All the beings, because you said there's many types of beings. Are the tall whites saying it?
The tall whites never speak to me.
Okay. The lavender beings.
The lavender
said that they're a race, not a species. So they are related.
They're telling me, remember, wake up, remember who you are, remember why you're here. Do you remember who you are? Do you remember why you're here? Wake up. And then they started talking about how we needed to learn, that humanity needed to learn to consciously communicate, because there were going to be situations that we're going to be facing in the very near future that will require conscious communication. And it's like it's so intertwined. I don't even know where to begin. Like, sometimes they say, well, it's because you're going to have these blackouts. There's going to be global blackouts that come. And when they do, the only way that you'll be able to speak to people on the other side of the earth is through these conscious communications. And they also talk about solar events that are coming and how these geomagnetic changes are going to come. And because of that, like Gaia, that's what they call our world, is going to literally we're going to merge with other worlds and places, and we will see them. We will see them for the first time. So they want our consciousness to prepare for this. And also there is an earth change that is coming.
Well, let's get to that because I want to get back to the cave. Did they say all this in the cave though?
Yes.
Oh, they did. Oh, okay. I didn't realize they said it then because I haven't heard you say that in other. So they said in that cave to the body or the consciousness that there's going to be major earth changes coming.
Major earth and consciousness changes that we have to prepare for, and that we are going to have contact with them.
Right. And so they're saying that to you as a disembodied consciousness or as
they're looking at my body and talking to each other about.
Are you remembering more of this now than you had when
I do.
You do.
Well, and I was very hesitant to come out with everything. And that's not me lying. That's just me holding back some, because you can't jump in to a pool and not know if it's filled with gators.
Well, it was filled with gators.
It was filled with gators.
It was definitely lots of gators. And but I want to get to how you got the message to give the press conference at the Lincoln Memorial and say that you were going to bring everyone in. But this stuff is really important too, because this is what they were preparing you for. So
this is just the introduction. This is how, this is the big.
What else did they say to you when you're disembodied on the table? And they're probably helping your body somehow, I would say, right?
Yeah, they were repeating, some of the same information in different ways, because I was having a difficult time understanding. They were just trying to impress upon me that I had some medications they wanted me to get off of. Because they felt that it was bringing down my threshold.
Is this the lavender being mostly talking to you?
And tell her, please.
Is this mostly the lavender beings that is talking to you?
At
that moment? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so they're talking to you on disembodied in a sense. You're getting all this information.
That's right.
And then what happens? And where do you get the idea to do the press conference?
Well, it was something that came up during meditation.
Oh, it was after that.
It was from after that.
Oh, okay. Then let's get back to that scene in the cave on the ship. And then what else is happening? How do you get back to your body? What happens?
I have no idea. I'm just suddenly back in my body.
On the table?
As they took it out.
You're back.
As easy as they took my consciousness out, there I am. I'm right back in. I'm not sure exactly what all they did to my body. I have no idea.
Does it feel different, your body?
I felt really good for a few weeks. Really, really wonderful.
And then, but how long were you out, do you think? I mean,
I thought that I was there for approximately 6 hours.
In the cave, and then in the base, whatever you call it, for 6 hours, but that from the time that we left his house to go to the tunnel and to the time that we were back at his house, for me, I thought it was like 6 hours. So they downloaded a lot of things to you that
Absolutely.
you might not even remember yet. Right?
That's right.
I see. So, but then you're back in your body, and then what happens? Where's Wayne?
So they put me back into my body. I get off of the table. I follow them out of the room. Okay?
Them being the ETs,
the gray and the whites. Okay. The tall whites are with them, and this is why I think there's security. I'm walking with the little gray being, and the whites are right behind us. It's like, I don't know if it was for me or if it was for anyone behind. It was bizarre.
There's no telepathic communication with the whites at all.
They do not communicate with me at all.
Interesting, because I've heard they're very strict with other people too. And I mean, this is something Linda Moulton Howe says. Not exactly that about the whites, but they're very, matter of fact, I guess you would say. And don't go near their children, they say.
Oh, I believe it. They were, honestly, they didn't seem very impressed, is the only way.
Okay.
I don't know how else to, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and not,
Yeah.
they very well could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they
So
were wearing these boots that looked like, and that they were like, the only way I know how to describe it is like military combat boots.
but
Yeah. Like maybe that's what
the-
they wanted to give me the impression
maybe,
of.
but they're solid. They're very solid. Real.
Everyone
All the
seemed
beings are very solid.
seemed solid to me.
Okay, but then you leave this whole,
left.
and then where do you go? Because
Okay, so we walk out back to where Wayne is standing.
Okay.
Okay. And the moment that we get out there, like he and I make eye contact, and he steps into the base right next to me. As soon as that happens, it's like blink, and it was just like that fast. We were standing in his house beneath this doorway
Mhm.
that goes into a second part of his home,
Right.
where he had told me earlier, before we'd even left to go to this tunnel, that this is where they teleport him when he's done. And suddenly we were right back there, and I went, "What the fuck is going on?"
I know, it's
And
quite.
you know what he said?
What?
What did they say to you? What did they tell you?
Oh.
That's what he said.
So then that kind of shakes you up for a while, and you feel pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, physically, and you have a message. And then
Yeah.
where do you get the idea that you're supposed to go to the Lincoln Memorial for a huge press conference? Because it went around the world. I know I broadcast it on my channel and got lots of hits, and everyone was calling me saying, I want an interview with Anjali. And I said, well, it's up to her, and let's see. And then you said you're going to take a group of people to meet these beings in the cave.
That's right.
That's what the whole press conference
Yes,
was about.
that's
You're
right.
getting
That's
a
what they
team
wanted. That's what
of
they wanted.
So where do you get that
Yes.
idea from? If you didn't get it,
I got it directly from the beings.
When?
I'm still in contact with them. They told me that day that that we were connected now.
Right.
That all I had to do was reach out to them consciously, and they would hear me.
And so when did they tell you that? Not in
the base.
In the base, they
That
told
day
you.
when I was out of my body.
They told you you're going to do a press conference.
No, they told me that we were going to be connected now,
Right.
and that we could continue to communicate.
And when did they tell you that you're going to do a press conference? Or should do a press conference?
The first time they mentioned it was like in April
of that year before
in 2021.
Right. And we did the conference in August. Right.
And
how did they mention it to you?
They showed me.
They showed you.
First, they showed me different places. And they showed me me talking and telling people about them. That's it. And I thought, well, that's not going to happen.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I have a child, and I have a family, and this is important to me.
Right.
And I know how the world is. And so I just thought that this isn't going to happen. And I told my partner about it. And we kind of I don't want to say ignored it, but it was like I was just extremely resistant to it. And then in July, I submitted, and I just said, okay,
But they said, we want you to do a press conference and
Yes.
tell the world about us, and tell people you're going to take a team
Yep.
to admit this.
Tell them that they're here.
Yes.
Tell them about densities of consciousness.
Yeah.
Tell them about changes that are coming for our consciousness densities. Tell them about the earth changes that are coming, to tell people that they are here, and to announce that I would be putting together a team to take them.
They told you to say all this in the press conference.
Yes.
So then,
and I didn't have anything prepared, because I didn't prepare anything the night before, ever. I mean, I just didn't write anything down. It was all just, they kept saying every time I would meditate, they were trying to give me just encouragement and support that I was not alone. I would not be alone that day.
right.
And that if I stayed in the flow to keep myself together, to
Right.
stay in the flow and to stay present, and that it would all flow. And I
it,
feel like it did, because I just
did.
opened my mouth and it all came out.
It really did. I'm going to put a link to that press conference right here. If you
Oh.
watch the rerun or in the information, it all flowed. But the problem was
Didn't happen.
it didn't happen. Yeah,
That's
it
right.
didn't happen. The team didn't happen. You didn't meet the guy Wayne. You want to talk about how he kind of
Well,
didn't,
I want to be generous with
yeah.
Wayne and his family, because I think that they deserve the generosity. I don't know if they are telling the truth, that they
The tr-
now don't know where the tunnel is, and but I believe that there's a possibility that
Wait,
that is true.
So you were assembling the
So,
team,
yes.
and you go back to Wayne and say, "Guess what? I'm getting this team in place." And that's when he says,
Well, I told him before the press
"Oh,"
conference.
and
I
he was
told him
okay.
Well, yes, but I went back and I looked, I read and see, this is where I need to be really generous again.
Okay,
Okay.
I don't know.
I
'Cause
watched his and my talk together, and
You watched it. You mean you
yeah, because
videotaped?
he and I had he and I and his wife, we had Zooms and
Oh,
stuff.
okay. And
And
you had taped it and you
yeah.
watched it, and he.
Yeah, and I thought, now looking back at it, I can see that that we may not have been on the same page. I'm not going to say we weren't, but we may not have been, because I did feel that he had invited me out.
Yeah.
I did feel that he wanted me to come. I did say that, I was making this press conference. I was going to get this team together,
And
and
he
we were
said,
going to
"Oh,
come
right."
there. Yeah, and he was like, "Okay, well, when are you coming?"
Okay. Well, that's pretty upfront, like expecting you.
But we just have to be generous.
Generous in the sense that, so because if he says he doesn't remember that, then, but he told you this is where he rematerializes. It's obviously
Yeah.
that
That's right.
he's had those experiences and without you. And then, so you think,
right.
and I know what you're saying, being generous without accusing him of
Anything.
that maybe it was just too much for him, all the publicity
Or
that
they
you
don't,
got.
I know that that this family is concerned about the government taking their property and taking their land, and
Because they would do that. If they knew there was an ET base in a certain location, you might get like that scene in ET where the forces come in trying to get the little ET, right? Or what?
Well, I mean, I don't know that that's true at all.
I don't know if it's true either.
Because there was somebody behind that window, and I don't know who it was. But I do know that there have been a lot of people who are connected to the government, despite, I'm very, very cautious about what I release and what I put out into the public, but they have been incredibly interested, less so in the actual location of the base and more so in what the beings were communicating. I have, several hours of interviews that I have done with various people from the DC metro area, who
government people
who will just say that that they have heard this from other sources. Like, I'll say something, they'll ask the beings of questions, I say something, and then they'll
you're like, they're asking you and you're kind of connecting with the beings to get information.
That's right.
Oh, well, I would love to do some of that and talk about the density of consciousness. But before we get there, I just want to straighten up the story. So what are the beings saying in the fact that this whole thing was prepared and didn't happen?
Well, okay, so they have always said that this was a soft disclosure. And in the beginning, I was much more meek about communicating with the public and what they were communicating.
You were much shyer.
Yes, I was. But they have said from the beginning that this is a soft disclosure. This right now.
Right here, right now.
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
Like
thank
all
you.
these
Okay.
this kind of thing. Anytime when we're talking about their communications with us.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Then you have a soft disclosure.
I
because
agree.
They are disclosing that information to us.
And you feel like they're actually talking now with us.
I mean, they're always around.
Right.
It's quite easy for them
So okay. So yeah. So, but what happened? What did they say about the fact that this whole thing that you showed the world and prepared and say we're going to take a team didn't happen? Are they? Do they say, "Ha ha"? No.
No, there was no kind of there.
No,
There
I
was
didn't
no
mean that.
yeah, there was no
No.
trickster element in this for me.
But if they knew it was supposed to happen, why couldn't they make it happen? Is what I'm saying.
Well, they said that it is that we have choices here that we are making, and there's only so much that they are willing to so much that they were willing to involve themselves in, and I don't understand it, and I don't ask a lot of those questions.
Right.
Okay. I have so many questions about what happened to me, and what I'm experiencing, that and what they're saying, what they're constantly communicating, and that it's like it's all consuming.
No,
I'm so sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I think, you're doing a great job, and it's hard to come forward. I think it must be hard because some people were maybe disappointed that really wanted to go and be part of this. And it's not your fault. It does seem like the fault, not to blame anyone, of Wayne's kind of shutting down and saying, I don't know. It's not about blame, of course, but
right. I mean, I don't know
yeah.
who else may have been involved with him. He said people come to his house.
So it could have been insiders saying we don't want this to happen or something.
I really don't know. What I find really odd is just I think I'm going to have to hold that.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's fine. No, don't be sorry, because I know it's a lot. It was a lot to put on you, but I'm just curious what the beings themselves are saying, because they told you
They
to
say
do
it's
this.
okay. They always say it's okay. They always say, what did they say to me about this? Well, for weeks they were warning me
About
that it may go sideways, that it may not come to fruition. And at that time, that doesn't mean that we're never going to have this, but they did say that may not happen. And they were preparing me for that. And I was aware of that. And I was really trying to keep all of that stuff together in the background, so that I don't know.
No, it's not. It's no pressure. No. But could it have been like a setup in the sense that it was supposed to unfold that way, and that you were doing what, going through for a bigger plan?
They say it is, I used to say this online. People hated it, so I stopped saying it. But they said this was a catalyst, a consciousness catalyst, like a consciousness awakening catalyst, a catalyst for consciousness awakening, a catalyst for consciousness growth, a catalyst for consciousness learning. Everything is catalyst.
They say this to you.
Yes.
What is that? So maybe the whole press conference idea was a catalyst to wake people up, and
they've said
it was not supposed to happen.
But
you did. You did the best you can, because I know I was there, and you were sincere, and you were going for it. But maybe we needed that sincerity and energy to wake some other people up.
There have been numerous people who have had contact experiences and conscious communication through meditation since I have come forward, who are in the Transcension Project and in the Experiencer group and in the Discord. The impetus was that's the word I got wrong. Impetus. Thank you. The impetus was me coming forward with my story.
Right.
And then people were like, that happened to her and she was just meditating. I'm like, well, I think so. And so next thing you know, other people are trying it and they're having experiences.
Well, maybe that's what it was all for.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know either, but I know it's disappointing on a human level. But talk about the transcendent. No, don't be upset, because you did. I think you did the best you can, because I saw how sincere you were, and I know you were putting yourself out there in front of the world.
It was kind of traumatic.
I'm sure you're
kind of traumatic.
You're out there at the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, and but you're also sort of channeling this stuff through you.
Right. I did. That was amazing.
I know you're in the wheelchair for a moment and then boom, you're like speaking with this very powerful voice.
It
So
was crazy.
but it was a message. So we'll talk about the transcendent program that's still happening because we're still in major disclosure
That's right.
mode. I mean, the planet is. So,
Mhm.
and the transcendent project, for people who may not know, talk about where that
Well,
came from.
I have really stepped away from the actual Transcension project, like on Reddit. So I'm building a website, my own website, because it was too much for me to be able to manage and to handle with
Yeah.
everything else that I'm trying to do. And I have had some really wonderful people that have been they're trying so hard to manage that. And you know, it goes it peaks and troughs in how well it is. But
what was it
yes.
to begin with?
Okay, so the idea is just that we're coming to the end of a cycle of birth and
Yeah,
rebirth.
tell people that,
Okay.
because I think it's important.
Okay, well, we are coming to an end of a cycle of birth and rebirth that our consciousnesses have been locked in for thousands of years. There are some of us who have been sent and put into this kind of biotechnology so that we can speak to the rest of you and try to awaken you as well to the consciousness movement that is happening. They say this was always coming, and we've heard about it for thousands of years. They say this cycle is a little different because it is the end of the cycle is it's corresponding to an upgrade, I think is the right word. Like the earth itself has its own consciousness. Okay. It's a different kind of consciousness than what we have, but it is definitely conscious. And it is going to transcend to the next density. And so when the earth does that, there's something that comes before it, precedes it, and it is like a change that is going through the entire solar system. And I think that it actually may be going through our entire universe, or everything out there that we've ever been able to see. And maybe we just don't know about that. But I'm not certain. But they say that that this cycle is thousands of years old. Okay, it happens time and again, and it is coming. And the reason that is important for us to be talking about disclosure and conscious awakenings now is because they say they've explained densities to me, and the density of consciousness, and how over time, how our consciousness evolves, not just bodies evolve. Okay. And that they want our consciousness to evolve because of what we're about to experience. First of all, some of us, and I don't know who, some of us will choose to transcend to the next level of density, which means that they have awakened in some way consciously to the knowledge that that we are all one consciousness that has that is here to serve the goodness of the all for the one. And as we move into that, some of us will choose not to transcend to the next density of consciousness. Some people really like the third density physicality that we have in a material world, of like physical matter instead of just energetic matter. And so some people may choose to continue this kind of experience somewhere else. And they've said that there are other places that may be more conducive to the long-term evolution of consciousness through this biotech than our world, than Earth, than our world on Earth because of these changes that come cyclically to this particular solar system. And so my understanding is that those who don't want to go up, into the next level of density, they will just go somewhere else. And the rest of us will transcend, or our consciousnesses will return back to our families that are searching for us. So there are some beings who are out there who are here now, and they are waiting for you to awaken because you are a member of their family and they are looking for you.
Mhm.
And they say that there is a little light that is inside of me, and they found it, and they're looking for those little lights in other people. That light of consciousness, of conscious awareness, is what signals to them where you are, and they can find you. And they're wanting to pull some of us out before we have these major earth changes coming. Because once that happens to the earth, it cleanses itself for its upgrade.
What do you mean by pulling us out? Like what
I take us home so that we're not
off planet,
off world, if nothing
off
else.
world.
Off world.
There are beings that want to take us off
Out of this third density world.
Could it be that we shift vibration to a fifth density and still kind of be at a higher level here?
Well, they're saying that there are some people who are here and have been put into avatars so that they can bring about the awakening, and they have no intention. They don't need to stay and transcend because they have already transcended. They're here to work, but they don't remember because the veil is very, very, very heavy here.
But it's getting lighter.
It is getting lighter now, yes, as we go through these geomagnetic changes, which is why we have to, we need to awaken, because it's happening quicker and quicker, and that is speeding up. All of it is getting faster and faster and faster.
Originally, when you came out, or after, you talked about 6 races that were on their way here. 6 different ET races. Are they here?
Or 6 members of the count.
Oh,
there were 7 members of the council.
Right.
Yes. And my understanding is that everyone is here now.
They're here now. They've arrived.
Everyone has arrived.
And then what does that mean? How does that look? What are we supposed to do about that?
We are supposed to try to awaken our consciousness so that we can begin to consciously communicate with them and receive their messages and prepare ourselves for what's going to happen, so that when we do see them, when the geomagnetic veil falls, because they haven't told me it's geomagnetic, I'm guessing it's geomagnetic. When that veil falls, we will all be in the same place, and they don't want everyone to be. They want our consciousness to not be afraid. They don't want us to be afraid.
You mean there'll be like a magnetic shift of the polarity,
right.
And that will create environmental chaos, maybe you're saying?
Changes that are not conducive to our little bodies.
And where do they want us to be for those things?
They want us to be in the mountains. They want us to be in the Appalachians. They want us to be in the Rockies. They want us to be in the Black Hills. They want us to be in the Himalayas. They want us to be in the Alps. They want us, you name it. They want us to be in the mountains. We need to go up because the water is coming in and it's going to wash everything away.
And when is this happening? Do you get?
They say that it's going to be within my lifetime, and that some very large, humongous changes are going to be starting in 2027. We're going to start seeing some major changes. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be the beginning of something different for us.
And you also talk about the beings that were here. Some of these other races didn't like the earth, us humans, and they wanted to do away with it, and other beings were standing up for us. You said that about, what's happening with that situation?
I don't know so much that they wanted to do away with us so much as they didn't want to help us out of this situation because they thought it was a lost cause.
And other beings were standing up for her saying, no, it's not.
It's not a lost cause.
I-
Get yourself together.
Mm.
You've got a job to do, basically get your butt back to Gaia and do your job. And so now everyone's here and they're here and they're trying, their job is to administer the end, of this cycle of birth and rebirth and the end of this earthly cycle.
Right.
They're here to administer that. And there are other beings, they're basically, they're more ancient beings who are here just to watch, because this is like, I get the sense like maybe this is a really big deal that they're getting this opportunity to run the end of this.
Mm.
Okay, like they want to give us opportunities to awaken, and they think that when we struggle against things and we experience personal suffering, we tend to get out of this idea of our perception of reality in this physical world that we're in. Like we tend to open up. There's something that opens, and that that we will be more open with. So there's something about the struggle that's important, but I don't understand.
Well, you've been struggling a lot.
I
mean,
have.
and you've had this opening, but maybe we don't necessarily have to struggle.
I hope not like this. I don't want
Right.
anyone to struggle like this. But there is, we can't just like sit here and be like, yeah, they're going to save us, because they're not. They can't do that. That's
Right.
not the way it is. You have to practice to learn. And this is, this is our growing. And we're kind of like right now, humans in the third density here on Gaia, we're kind of like the caterpillar and the chrysalis. If they come here and they just rip us out of the chrysalis to save us, then
it's not going to save us.
It's not going to save us. We'll fall apart. We can't fly.
Right.
We can't live. We can't take care of ourselves.
Talk, though, one of the key points you said was the density of consciousness that the different beings had. Talk about what you mean by density of consciousness, because I think that's a really big point.
Right. Okay. So it's my understanding. This is my understanding, and honestly, there might be people out there who understand more. So, please, this is not the end of your search. I hope, for if anything, when you hear this will be the very beginning of something new, where you go out and find, different information. I'm sorry, tell me again the
question is that you talked about density of consciousness of the ETs.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, no, because that's
okay. So my understanding of what a density is it's how much light and energy has coalesced in your consciousness. Okay, how aware you are to your connection to everything that exists, absolutely everything that you see. It's like when first density is, when everything is I think emerging, when things are emerging, and as creation is creating, and then second density, we kind of all know, that we're connected to one another, but the idea of a self is still emerging in us. But essentially consciousness is light. They say everything is light. They say that they travel on the light. And so consciousness density is just how consciously aware are you? And at what level are you in your conscious growth and development? Our evolution as a race isn't about the body that we're in. It's really about the consciousness.
But also you talk about the different densities of the different ET consciousness, because I think you were really keen on that. So yeah.
So I've been developing a diagram that I haven't really shared yet, but it's breaking the beings that I've had communication with down into like a pyramidal representation. And I believe that we have fourth and fifth density beings. I know everyone says that fifth density, that's when you transcend into spirit, and I'm just not so sure, because I'm seeing fifth density. It's also incorporated. But there are beings that are very highly evolved. There are beings who are still in physical form, who know conscious communication and are able to communicate with us that way. And then there are beings who are light beings, who communicate things that are much, I don't know how to explain it. Like it's so spiritual, and it's such a challenge for us. It's like a spiritual calling, that they're calling for us to listen and to come home.
But can you talk about the difference between different beings? Like, when you meet a being, can you feel how dense they're, or even people, I guess, for that matter? But when,
well,
yeah.
when I have met, when I met the female, who I believe the
lavender
full
one?
light, no, my full light,
Oh, I don't know who.
the light being,
Oh, talk
that's
about that.
female, that I was talking to you about,
The divine.
yes, the divine woman.
Can you talk about how you met her and what that was like?
It's really funny. I was actually in a deep meditation, been meditating for about 45 minutes. I was in a jacuzzi tub in our bathroom. And I had the lights down. I was listening to the appropriate music for me, and meditating and communing. And she suddenly came through, and she gave me her standard hello. Except when she came through, she like filled everything. It was like, you don't get, she didn't come through just like on one side, like sometimes they do. She was like everywhere.
She wasn't an ET. You knew she wasn't an ET.
She was different. I knew I was in the presence of something. I started crying.
Really?
Okay. Yes, I started crying. And tears of joy just sprang right out of my face. And she was the one who said that it was time to come forward. And
when was this, before the whole press conference thing?
No, it was after wasn't it after the press conference? I can't remember.
But anyway, so this divine feminine essence. That's okay. It's okay. No, it's okay. She's come. And what was her message to you?
That we can, at any time, we can choose to stop doing what we're doing. That that all of this is us, that we're creating all of this. We decided to come here and be physically incarnate. We decided to try to create and to do all to be down here on the earth in Gaia. And she says that we don't have to do this.
We don't have to do what?
That we don't have to keep creating, that we
don't have to keep creating a mess.
That's right. That we don't have to keep doing this, that we can remember, that we can return to our divine oneness, and we can stop hurting, and we can stop hurting each other.
We can, but how do we get to the people that are hurting each other to stop?
I don't know.
But she said this to you. And she's been to you a few times.
Yeah.
And that talk to a lot of people who have this divine mother, divine feminine presence that appears with similar.
She was all light. I didn't see hair and stuff. I did see there were facial features, but I didn't see like flowing blonde hair. But I did see, what I saw instead was, I saw like all this. I saw bright and yellow and white lights all behind her. I'm sorry, you guys can't see what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm showing him, but all behind her were just the flowing, like, light was just coming out of her. And it was like, if you can imagine what something with water and light in it, with a membrane over it that's shining bright and filling you with love, then that's her.
Well, it sounds beautiful, and those are blessings when those divine beings show up. I feel getting back to the, thank you. No, beautiful. But what are the ETs saying now? And
They're saying that that we need to prepare our consciousness for contact.
what does that
And
mean, prepare our consciousness for contact?
That some change is going to happen to the earth, and that we will be able to we will see them and sense them with our eyes, and our senses are the senses of this body, and they do not want us to be afraid.
Right. Okay. And when we become more conscious, it actually may stop some of the earth changes, or
I don't know. It seems like this is a solar thing that's happening
right.
that I don't know. I mean, if you, according to, the light being, if we go by what she's saying, are we doing this? Are we doing this sun change? Are we causing it in some way? I mean,
Well,
that's a whole other, I don't even know how to
no.
address that,
Well,
I don't know where to begin
You
to
know,
have that discussion or try to make a change, but
there is an interactive element to,
absolutely. They say we're manifesting all of this with our intentions and our thoughts.
and the ETs themselves were manifesting, and the
Yeah, that
interaction.
we are them, that we are manifested them, that we're all just part of the same thing.
So is there a message right now you want to bring through from them to us as a disclosure moment?
I would just encourage you, well, there's a lot going on in the world, and sometimes it can be pretty scary. And I think it's really, it seems very important to that love as loving each other and being able to accept that we all don't see the world the same way, and that we're having different experiences. And it seems that approaching each other just in a very present and open mind is incredibly key to experiencing contact. You have to understand that what you see isn't the be all end all of reality. It's only what these bodies can sense. This biotechnology it's limiting your consciousness. It's limiting your consciousness's ability to understand what is really happening around you.
Right. I don't think it has to. I think it has been programmed to do that, but I think this biotechnology of the body can be as unlimited as consciousness.
Okay, I believe that too. I mean,
if we get out of the programming, that's
right.
the problem.
That's what they want. They really want us to.
And so we're at a moment of transformation, transcendence, as you would say.
Mhm.
And you don't regret anything that happened.
I regret nothing. The only thing that I would change if I could go back and do it, it would be that I would say I would not tell people where in the world this happened, so that nobody would know. And
no one knew anyone's name. It was Wayne coming forward, I guess, that blew the whole thing up. And do you think if he didn't come forward, who knows, it would have actually...
I don't know. I think that sometimes I still think in time. I think Brian and I understand each other. I really do. I think that he's probably as flabbergasted by it as I am, but he and I went through something together. And whether his corporeal body and consciousness here remembers that, I think somewhere in there he does. He knows, he's got some kind of inkling. And I'm not trying, there are all kinds of detractors out there like, oh, she's just trying to gaslight him. And I'm not trying to do anything.
Right.
I'm not trying to do anything like that. Okay. I have no ill intention or ill desire for anyone or anything.
Maybe it happened and went down the way it was supposed to, with the intensity that you put into it to inspire people, not to fool them or trick them or put you in front, because which some people have said, oh, she just won't. But I mean,
you can see how much I want to be in front. I haven't given interviews in months. I've been, and people have been hounding me and even calling me names on Twitter. I'm not kidding you.
No, but
just because I won't give an interview.
Well, this is
crazy.
But I think what you're saying here today is what you would say on those interviews. Because,
it is.
I mean, is there anything else you would want to say? Because there are people calling you names. They're still calling you names. And I think it's unfair, because you're on a mission, and sometimes the mission goes off in a direction, but it doesn't make the message
That's right.
different.
And it doesn't make the effort a waste.
Right. Because you put a
That's
lot
right.
of effort. You mean you
People that have been trying to reach out to the beings, and they have had wonderful experiences, you
Yes.
know, and they approach it with an open mind, an open heart, and they're so ready. And then they have these amazing experiences. And these are not people that have had, you know, like serious mental health crises
Of
in their
course.
lives. You know, we're not talking about people who have, you know, schizophrenia and
No,
are
I know.
struggling
They're
with that
real,
kind
they're
of
real people
thing.
with real.
Well, I mean, people who suffer from schizophrenia are real people as well, and
No,
they have real problems and too, and they can be contacted as well. But it's just so much harder to sift through what is contact and what is brain malfunction at that
I
point.
understand.
And they're so on fire that it's like it's
and it
hard.
may be a combination of both or
We
some.
don't know.
But the big question people are asking is, you don't need Wayne or whatever his name is, Cave, to have I mean, why don't they just show up with you in your front lawn? I mean,
Well,
what
if
was
they
what was
if they tell me that that's what they want me to do, and that's what they want to do, then that's what
But
I'll
they-
do. I
but
mean,
they-
that's what I'll
yeah,
try. I'll
they-
do anything,
they
you
tell-
know,
well,
in that respect. I mean, these beings are, first of all, they've never said anything to me that was negative or that was aggressive
right.
or angry.
They're kind,
They're
loving.
very kind and very loving. Like sometimes I'll even make a joke and they'll go, oh, and stuff, because they don't like, you know, my joke is too harsh,
Mm,
and they won't like it. You know, they are very reactive to where we're at right now, because we're on this edge.
mhm.
And the more of us who awaken, the more knowledge that we're going to carry into the next density and into the next creation, because we're just going to continue to coalesce.
Mhm.
And that eventual complete coalescence
Mhm.
is going to inform the next creation. It will coalesce into something, and then it will spread again, and we'll start all over, a new experience,
or another level.
or a new a new thing, or another level, a new level, something like that. That's what they show.
But something is definitely going down.
Something is definitely going down, and I am experiencing it quite often. And you know, I get daily communication with
You
the beings.
do.
It has changed my life. It has changed me. You know, it has changed me immensely, and I am very grateful for the experiences that I'm having.
So ultimately, we're moving into a better world, a better time,
I
a
think
more
so.
uplifted consciousness. And it's up to everyone to
Yeah.
feel that's possible for them,
Mhm.
themselves.
That's right. And to prepare, you know, prepare for the earth changes that are coming, and prepare for the idea that you may wake up one day and all of a sudden your senses are able to see beings that you always thought were there, and now you know.
Now
there.
they'll actually
Now they'll
will
actually be there.
because I
That's right.
feel like the density of the earth is speeding up.
It
or that
is.
is vibrating faster.
It is.
So
It
we're
is.
getting closer to where they
That's right.
are.
Mhm.
And that might affect the light and
Mhm.
the earth itself. So
Oh,
It's
they
a-
travel on light. I saw one came to me one day, and smiled when I was meditating and singing, and they came and smiled, and it was so beautiful and so moving that my eyes popped open, and I was like, and immediately, do you remember this, honey? Immediately the tears came out of my eyes, and I was like, was that? You know, I was like, it was amazing.
Are you still going into that meditation and getting vision?
Oh, yeah,
Every day, you're saying.
absolutely.
So they're coming to
And
you.
sometimes they make commentary when I'm not trying to make commentary. They like to correct me. Sometimes I say things wrong, you know, I'll say, well, the beings say, and then they'll be like, no, you misunderstood
Mhm.
something. But they're very generous about it, you know, very
Do you have
gentle.
anything they want to say right now to people watching?
They want to say that we're looking for you. We're here. We're listening. All you have to do is to open your eye, and you'll see.
Mm.
That's it.
Well, I know
Really?
the journey continues for you.
Yeah. On and on.
This is like, you're in it, I mean, you don't always have to believe or do what the beings tell you. This is
I know.
something, well, it's something Whitley says, they can be tricksters. Jim Semivan said that too.
Yeah.
They will, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
so just because they say have a press conference, it doesn't mean you have to do it.
I
But
don't regret it.
no, I know, maybe it was all
I think it was
perfect.
the right thing to do. And if nothing else, if nothing else, uh, it has made a lot of people who aren't resistant aware to the fact that they are not alone. For the first
Right.
time in their lives, now they know they're not alone because they've had experiences and they know it. And now it's all just about having more of them and having helping other people to awaken and to keep. And they're still searching. I'm searching. I mean,
What are you
I
searching
don't.
for?
I'm more. Just I don't know. Just I'm maybe I'm not searching.
Well,
Maybe I'm not searching
well, maybe,
anymore. Now that
but
you said that.
if the beings wanted to show up
Oh,
here right
I
now,
guess I don't feel like I'm really searching.
I
Now
don't
that
think
I
you're really
say
searching.
that, I
No, it's
think I feel
okay.
pretty good. Now
I
that I
think
say that.
I think you are pretty good. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
you
think I'm
definitely
pretty
feel like
okay.
something got healed in
Yeah,
you. I mean,
yeah,
it seems that way.
yeah.
And maybe you're doing what you're supposed to be doing right now.
I think so.
But if the beings wanted to show up right here, right
Mhm.
now, on camera, right here in the physical, they could.
Sure.
We have to shift though,
Yeah.
or maybe not.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I honestly, I don't know. I wish I had more answers. And you see, that's the
Well,
toughest part about having experiences is that, you have a few and you understand, some of your experience maybe. And then, you know, everyone wants you to understand everything. They want to ask you everything and they want, and it's not like that. It's not like that. Yes, I am in touch with beings that I don't understand. I take their word for it and I ask questions, I listen. And I try to just remain an open vessel. Everything they say resonates with me. If something doesn't resonate with me, I don't do it. If it doesn't feel right, then I would avoid that. So
well, I
avoid
appreciate
what doesn't resonate.
no matter who's telling you that, right?
Avoid if it doesn't resonate.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
that's right.
thank you for
Yeah.
coming forward and just being yourself, really, because
Yeah.
I know it.
And I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
I'm sorry for any disappointment that anybody
I
has
mean,
felt. I don't think the journey has even come close to being over. And so everyone's who's like putting the end period on it is really being pretty freaking silly. And I think they should just sit down and be quiet.
it's like a good movie. Like you think Dorothy and
Yeah.
are going to get home, and he goes, no, you have to go back and
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
the broomstick, and you
Yeah.
have to go through this and every time you think the movie's over, it's like it adds to the little excitement. So when
Yeah.
you finally do arrive
Yeah.
at the end, then it's actually been a journey
That's right.
of learning.
It has. It
And
has.
maybe that's what it's all about. The
Maybe it
plot
is.
the plot thickens in order to, there's always they say in screenwriting, there's a difference between the plot and the story.
Mhm.
The story is just like, in baseball, it's 9 innings and all that. The plot is what happens in
Yeah.
the story to create the conflict, to make people more involved and more engaged and more expressive. So it's a big
The
drama.
plot thickens.
The
And it's always thickening, isn't it?
Until it
Till it thins and we're all like, oh, that's what they meant.
I think we have a long way to know what they meant, but I'm happy that you're still in communication. And I think more and more people are. I'm doing a course on remote viewing and making contact.
Really?
And it's how people use their consciousness to travel to other worlds and make contact.
That's
You
amazing.
can go to
That's
lightnet.org and
Lightnet.
It's going to be hosted by Zinka Caro. But anyway, maybe you could come on as a guest, or I'm doing other events with Neil Gar, Portal to Ascension. We're doing a whole Star Being conference. So
I could
You're-
put together even a presentation.
Oh, that might be good.
I'm really good with that.
Oh, well, I think that could be really fun.
Yeah.
So anyways, look, so you plan on being out there in media more. I appreciate you giving me this interview.
Yeah, well, you know.
We haven't.
You saved my butt that day.
Well-
Everything went wrong and I
Well-
couldn't. I was physically, I was having a
Mm.
very difficult time. The heat was
I
really
know,
getting to me.
Washington, DC in August. And
Yeah, it was too much.
and I did put myself on the line
know
by
you
broadcast.
did.
I mean,
And that was wonderful of you. Everyone, Alan was not working for me or with me. He was just there.
was
Thank
helping.
goodness. He was helping another friend who
Right.
wanted to
but
film it.
I did stream it all
Yeah.
on this YouTube channel, and I got a lot of inquiries about you that I had to say, okay, we'll see what happens and
Yeah.
all that. But so I appreciate you coming back here to
Sure.
New Realities and
Yeah.
sharing. And
You're definitely
know,
living in a new reality.
well, it
We're
is
moving
all,
into new realities right now.
well, the reality is based on consciousness.
I know.
So as we shift our consciousness, we
Isn't that
shift.
wonderful?
Yes, well, it's what I've been trying to discover about perception, consciousness, awareness, and what are we doing here?
Mhm.
And when we understand consciousness as not a space holder of being, but an application for being,
Mhm.
then we use consciousness the ways the ETs are using consciousness to fly their ships, to dematerialize.
That's right.
And we're not there yet. The spiritual traditions, I feel, have kept this saying, oh, it's all consciousness. It doesn't matter. It's all consciousness.
Mhm.
That just gets us to a level playing field where, of course, it's all consciousness. We've graduated spirituality 101 to say, yes, it's all consciousness. How do we apply the consciousness? And that's why I think the contact modalities is an application and what you're doing in your own meditation. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
And
Thank you for listening.
yeah, thank you for joining us and feedback. And I'm going to post the press conference below so people can, I mean, if you don't
Mhm.
mind, because I know you don't regret it, and
No,
it's
I
a
don't.
chapter,
No, I don't. I don't regret it.
but you got a lot of press for that. And it's okay. No,
And a lot of press for no press being there.
I know, but whatever's supposed to happen happened, and I think it did plant seeds, and you're still planting seeds. So
Yeah.
I'm happy you're doing
Thank
well,
you.
and
Thank you,
I
Alan.
feel
It's been lovely being here.
thank
I
you.
love being here.
All right. Well, thank you, Alan Steinfeld, for New Realities with Anjali, the it girl of 2021. You were the,
Oops.
I want to thank Roderick Martin for introducing me, and
Martin.
Nick and
Nick.
everyone on Clubhouse, and the onward into the future, as they say.
Onward.
And stay tuned for more live and maybe not live YouTube on New Realities, and subscribe to this channel. Take out a super chat, because I'm trying to get the best people I know who are looking at disclosure and consciousness on all levels of awareness. So thank you again, Anjali.
Thank you.
Okay, see you, everybody. Thanks for all your comments in the chat.